Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel and I'm here to talk about the Vampire Diaries, this time episode 706 titled Best Served Cold, which premiered Thursday, November 12th, 2015 on the CW. And guys, quite a big bombshell today, that's for sure. So before we get started, let me just remind you that if you haven't seen the episode yet, please go do so first. I'm going to be spoiling the hell out of it in this video, and I would hate for me to spoil it for you because you are going to want to experience the news when you watch it. I'm telling you right now. So if you haven't, go check it out first and then come back and see what I thought about the big reveal and anything else that happened in the episode. So with that said, let me just start the 10-minute clock and let's begin. So what is something new that we learned in this episode? And we learned the name of the soul that's inside Joe's body. Turns out her name is Florence, and she's not doing so good. Apparently the vampire soul, that is Florence, is not reacting very well to the fact that she's in Joe's human body. Because of this, she starts to decompose really fast and she is basically on her deathbed again, sadly, which brings a very heartbreaking moment for Alaric to see, who essentially has his wife's face go through this. So there's that. We don't find out, but Damon finds out from Stefan that Valerie was pregnant with his child before Julian beat the baby to death. And Stefan only revealed this to Damon after he failed to kill Julian, and Damon was trying to get the reason out of Stefan as to why Stefan wanted to kill Julian instead of work with Damon and have his vengeance plan to Lily the way he did. So Damon finally knows the truth about that and has agreed to help Stefan kill Julian, whether it's the next day, in a week, in a month. Damon will be there to help Stefan kill the vampire that killed his unborn child. So there's that. Matt and Bonnie make a startling discovery after the party at the abandoned high school. And apparently there's a whole bunch of compelled people just sitting in their desks with IVs attached to them. And I think a few close-ups showed the people very sickly looking. And IVs, don't know what they're for, but I think it's possible that these humans are being used as blood donors, unwilling blood donors. So that's a surprise shock. Matt tried to get them out, but Bonnie realized that they're all compelled to stay. So apparently someone at the party compelled them there. So it's either Lily, Julian, or one of the heretics. So there's that. That was surprising. I wasn't expecting that discovery at all. Another one, not party related, we learned from Valerie that Alaric's twins with Joe may still be alive. And she realizes this after watching the wedding video, and she hears one of the chants the Gemini Coven were saying. Everyone believed that it was a spell to send Kai back to the prison world, but Valerie reveals that it's actually a spell to protect the twins that Joe was carrying in order to preserve the Gemini Coven, the next generation. So with that news, Valerie helps Alaric try to figure out where his twins are, and where they are is shocking for sure. And let's move on to the most shocking moment of the episode. Turns out we find out in the flash forward part, the 3 years in the future part, we find out who Caroline is engaged with, and that is to Alaric. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, it's a very big surprise. And apparently those twin girls, in the present day, they are currently in Caroline. Apparently the spell the Gemini Coven performed resulted in Caroline being pregnant with the twins. Somehow the spell allowed for the twins to move from Joe's womb to Caroline's. And maybe that's why Alaric and Caroline end up together in the future. Maybe because of the bonding experiences pregnancy is going to come between them. I don't know. It's definitely shocking to have that pair up. I wasn't expecting it. It never even appeared on my radar. I thought if any one of the three girls, it would have been Elena and Alaric, and then it would have been Alaric and Bonnie Never did I think it'd be Alark and Caroline, so I'm shocked to see that, and I can't wait to see them grow to where they are at a point that they're going to be engaged. But in the flash forward, we do find out that Caroline is still alive, and she goes on live television while still bloody with a message for Stefan. So it seems like this hunter is getting pretty desperate in trying to locate Stefan. So on to the top 3 favorite moments of the episode. First one has to be Damon and Stefan. So many different reasons for Damon and Stefan. First, when Julian is fighting off the two brothers, he first attacks Stefan. And I really love the fact that Damon quickly tried to intervene, trying to get his brother out of there. Just being the older protected brother, I love that he's finally taking on that role, which is so far different from where we saw them back in season 1. Another favorite moment between the two of them is when Stefan actually confides in Damon the fact that he was going to be a father, but Julian took that away from him. And Damon doesn't make any jokes about it. He actually takes it very seriously, that even though this is a secret that's just coming to the limelight for Stefan after 150 years, it's still, for Stefan, it's still hitting him hard that he could have been a father, and that choice, that opportunity was taken away from him. And Damon is being the brother and being supportive of Stefan's feelings towards that. And they actually talk about their own father, Giuseppe. They actually talk about, Damon actually confides in Stefan that him and Elena actually talked about the idea of starting a family together, even though it was hypothetical when they were vampires, but when she took the cure, they were actually considering what it would be like if they actually started a family together. And they talked about how when it came to being a father, all they wanted was to not be a father like their father was. Damon even said, I think, that he wanted to be the best dad possible just to spite Giuseppe. So I really like that brotherly moment between the two of them. Second favorite moment, it has to be probably the most heartbreaking one so far, and that is Alark seeing Joe die again, even though it's technically not Joe. It was so sad to see Florence, the vampire soul in Joe's body, tell Alark that she wished that she was Alark's wife, because he seemed like he would have been the best husband possible, just the way that she's known him for the last few days. And Alark basically thanked Florence for allowing him to hear his wife's voice again, and to actually have the ability to give her a proper goodbye, even though it's technically not Joe, but the fact that she wears her face is allowing Alark to have a proper goodbye with her. So I thought it was very sweet, very moving, and it did bring a few tears to my eyes. It was very sad to see Alark go through that again. So on a little bit of a brighter note, my third favorite moment has to be Bonnie being Enzo's date to Lily's party to make Lily jealous. At first it was out of the blue. They both arrived at the party at the same time, and Enzo was just telling Bonnie, oh, if anybody asks, you're my date. And then Bonnie's like, what? I'm sorry. It's like, what did you say? And then when they see each other at the party, Enzo makes an attempt to go talk to Bonnie and confide in her what Julian was looking for, and that was looking for Oscar's car because he had something of Julian's. I'm assuming it's the ring. And when Bonnie sees Lily looking over at the two of them, Bonnie makes the move of appearing like a date, getting close to Enzo, fixing up his tie, basically putting on the moves to make Lily jealous. And I really like that Enzo didn't step back from it. Enzo embraced it, and Bonnie was okay playing with that part. And I really think this is the start of the love story we're meant to see of Enzo and Bonnie, of where they are in the flash forward. Just like how I think this pregnancy with Alark and Caroline is the start of where we're going to see them in 3 years from now to when they're engaged. So I'm really liking the idea of Bonnie and Enzo, for sure. And them pretending to be dating or to be each other's dates was just the first little step they needed to take. Okay, so top 3 peeved moments. I've only got 2. So the first one is Stefan's impulse to kill Julian. I mean, I get why he's blinded by the fact that Julian killed his unborn child, but has Stefan not learned anything over the last few years? when dealing with an older opponent and one you definitely don't know, you don't go rushing in head first to try to kill them. It didn't work with Catherine. It didn't work with any of the originals. It didn't work with Silas. It didn't work with Marcos. It didn't work with who else? The two vampires. It didn't work with Kai, even though Kai is technically younger, but he had more power, so there's that. So this case, Stefan is going off emotion instead of using his head, even though he's taking a page out of his humanity-less self with the attack first, ask questions later type route. So it kind of irritated me that Stefan wasn't thinking smartly about this, especially with trying to take Julian on by himself when he's in a house full of, when he's in a house full of Lily and heretics who would easily defend Julian, and Stefan's just by himself. It makes no sense. Second peak moment has to be Lily being wrapped around Julian's finger after he beat on Stefan and Damon the way he did, and then he blames it all on the Phoenix Stone and how being in there trapped for a century has altered him in some way and how he's trying to deal with that. It's so fake. It's such an easy blame. And I get that he's the love of her life, but like, she just didn't even question it. It's like, you're just gonna take, well, I guess if you're in love, you're supposed to take his blind word, truthful word for it, I guess. So, I don't know, I really don't like Lily's attitude towards Julian, just blindly taking in what he has to say, when he's clearly a manipulative fool, for sure. So what will I remember most about this episode? It has to be the Alaric and Caroline reveal. Not only are they engaged in the future, but apparently Caroline is now the surrogate for his twins with Joe. Still don't know how that happened, which goes into my random questions segment. First question being, well, basically all the questions revolve around this point, but why was Caroline impregnated with the Joe Lark twins? Was it because Caroline was the only vampire female around at the wedding? Because everyone else belonged to the Gemini Coven, and anyone who wasn't was either Elena, he was a human cursed by Kai, or Caroline, who was a vampire. So does that mean because Caroline was the only one that was going to walk out of that wedding, that's why she had the gift of carrying the twins? Or was it because she was a vampire and therefore more likely to have survived things? I guess her body being more durable, I guess, in a sense. Another one would be, will Caroline being a vampire change the twins in any way? Are the twins still Alaric and Joe's, with Caroline just being the vampire surrogate for them? So many questions to be asked since they ended the episode on that big reveal, but I did say in the beginning how I hoped that they wouldn't include a pregnancy story for Caroline for the sake of explaining Candace's real-life pregnancy, since the mythology wouldn't work in this instance, since vampires don't get pregnant in the Vampire Diaries universe. But I guess they found a way to have Caroline being pregnant without contradicting the fact that vampires can't get pregnant. So I guess it makes sense in a way. Don't know why it had to be Caroline of all people. So I hope they answer that later on. So that's basically all that was in my head. So let's go to predictions. Well, this first one's not one because it's based off this promo for episode 707, and it's Thanksgiving filled with mission to kill Julian, and apparently Lily is linked to Julian, so if he dies, she dies. So don't know how that happens, but that'll be interesting. My own prediction is that I hope Lily comes to terms with who Julian really is. I hope she turns her back on him. I hope if anyone is to kill Julian, I hope it's Lily herself. I hope. Next prediction, Caroline's pregnancy is going to come between her and Stefan somehow. Kind of similar to how Valerie seems to be coming in between them, just for the fact that Stefan knows the secret and yet didn't tell Caroline. And because of the pregnancy, I believe Caroline is going to become closer to Alaric. I mean, how could she not? She's carrying the man's baby, man's twins with his dead wife. Never thought I could say that. Next prediction, Matt and Bonnie are going to find out more about what is happening to those people at the high school. And they're going to have to find some way to break them out of it and try to figure out which vampire is doing the compelling at this point. So that's about it. What did you guys think about the episode? What did you find the most shocking? And did you see that happening at all? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos, and to share this with all your other friends in the Vampire Diaries fandom. Let's spread the word around. Let's bump up those views. And for the show, let's see where this story goes, because the fact that we're seeing these flash forwards has really got me hooked on trying to figure out how it connects to the present day storyline. So that's great. Also, if you want a more detailed recap of the episode, check out my live journal account. The link will be down below. Basically, it's just a play-by-play of what happens and then my real-time reactions to it. So just check those out. Also, if you want any more news about the Vampire Diaries, whether it's promos, sneak peeks, synopses, episode stills, or just GIFs about the episode itself, usually parallels or scenes with dialogue, text, any of that, check out my Tumblr page. Links for those will be down below. I usually try and link everything back to that one spot, just for my own convenience and hopefully for yours as well. So all those links will be down below in the box, and that's pretty much it. Definitely went over, but until next time, have a great day, a great week, and this is Mel, wishing you guys goodbye. Bye-bye.